everyone. Thank you for coming to Sheldon Saint Artist Talk. Today we want to gather and talk a little bit about Sheldon's show and process and explore the many themes that came up between us as we spoke about the show during our curatorial process. I want to have a brief introduction to Sheldon and the show. Sheldon Saint is a Bahamian watercolor and oil painter whose work blends luxury presentation with profound spiritual depth. Founder of Sheldon Saint Studio, he is recognized for elevating the collector's experience through authenticity, narrative, and reverence. His paintings often draw on Bahamian themes, weaving together cultural memory, faith, and fine art into timeless work that speaks to both personal devotion and national identity. Saint's artistry has been featured in landmark exhibitions and catalogs, including the inaugural National Exhibition of the National Art Gallery of Bahamas, Freedom Call, commemorating the 200th anniversary of the abolition of the transatlantic slave trade, and Art International, too. And now this solo exhibition, A Small Place, hosted by the National Art Gallery of Bahamas. In my opinion, Saint is one of those rare painters that contemplates his pieces like a poet considers words. He searches for inspiration in the gentle landscape around him, notes when the light is just right, and waits for the frame to capture, to capture his work. Painting for over 30 years, Saint presents a snapshot of his works in A Small Place, organized to mirror a walk through the islands, and presents his subjects in the middle of everyday tasks. A Small Place is named after poet and essayist Jamaica Kincaid's essay of the same name, which discusses the contrast between the visitor's gaze and local experience, something we see in the way that Saint's pieces sit against the canon of genre paintings rendered by visiting painters that influence our visual art history. So tell to all the people who might not know, and or who are completely familiar with your works, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About myself. My name is Sheldon Saint. I'm one of the local artists here on the island. Like you said, I've been working in this particular medium of watercolors for more than 30 years. I enjoy working with that medium and being here and visiting with some of the folks who I work along with, especially my colleagues, one of my colleagues who just stepped into the room. And I'm more than happy, delighted to be here with you as we discuss this exhibition, have this nice talk about it.
It was really wonderful working with you for the past. Can you hear us on the StreamYard, Reagan? It was really wonderful working with you for this past year. Well, more than a year.
Yeah, more than a year.
We started brainstorming the exhibition a year before it opened, and now that it's open, we are continuing our relationship. I feel like we met when I called you and asked.
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that phone call. Can I speak with Sheldon Saint, please? Yeah, this is he.
Yeah. When visiting your studio and discussing the show, you spoke a lot about how you would travel around the island and choose scenes to capture. Can you talk more about this process and the process of choosing scenes?
Well, there was a time when I always travel with one of my cameras. And when I come across a scene, something that I feel as if that I may want to share with an audience, I always have my tools with me. So I would see something and I would step out of my vehicle, step out the vehicle, and I said, okay, I need to capture this moment because this may be something that I would want to share with an audience, in the future. Now, there are other times when that does not happen. I would be driving in one of the settlements on the island, and I would say to myself, okay, it's about 9:30, so maybe if I come back at 10:30 tomorrow or 11 o'clock tomorrow, then the sunlight would be shining right across that building, and then the cast shadow would be there as well, and then I could come back and then I could capture the moment and work on the painting on
Yeah, no, that's something that really was interesting to me, or really struck me when I first encountered Sheldon a very long time ago, about his use of light, and how gentle it was, and how he uses it to sort of create this sort of, I don't want to say malaise, but this beauty, and gentleness about the environment. You know, it's very romantic as well, in his paintings. Most of these works are watercolor in this show in particular, and the watercolors used for these scenes create, like I said, the soft, almost dreamy effect. Um, what technique of light do you use to create this sense of nostalgia? And do the scenes you choose from your travel investigations have this light quality, or do you invent them?
Well, it is not something that I invent. It's something that I captured that particular moment. I want to share with the audience exactly what I saw when I looked through my viewfinder, my camera, and that's what I want to share with them. I don't want to take something home or just go home and just create something from memory or from my imagination. I want to share with the audience exactly what I saw in my travels.
Yeah, one thing that's important with genre painting is this idea of light. It communicates a part of the story, right? Of what is going on exactly with the, so to speak, character in each painting, you know? And so, like, what I find really wonderful about Sheldon's work is that he's able to communicate this time of day and also gentility with he uses light.
This is one of those pieces where I was in the International Bazaar, again with my camera, and I go, oh my God, I gotta take this picture. And of course, it doesn't look like the bazaar because I took out all of the busyness of that area out of the background, and I just included something that I wanted to share with the audience.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked about the light being your invention, right? Because you do make decisions on what you want to bring forward with your work. Like you decided to, because you when I visited your studio, we connected on the fact that you are interested in beauty, and you're interested in making things beautiful, right? And so the like you choosing to like sort of take out all the busyness, right? and focus on the light, and the intimacy between these two women,
two little girls.
Those choices I think are really salient throughout your entire body of work. I think it's really really lovely. Okay. One of the reasons, like I said, that I was so interested in your work is that you are preoccupied, like I said, with beauty and making things beautiful. And this is why I liken Sheldon to a poet. You present these everyday scenes in such a gentle, considered way. I chose the title "A Small Place" is because it's an essay by this lady, Jamaica Kincaid. She's a writer from Antigua, and the essay, it's a small book. It talks about a lot of things, but what it starts off doing is she's taking the reader throughout walk through Antigua and pointing out like little things that the reader wouldn't know if you weren't a local there. And I think that is something that Sheldon is doing, and a lot of painters, when you're from a place, that specificity of these two people braiding their hair, or even the dog scene, of like this specificity is what I'm interested in, and what Jamaica Kincaid is interested in, and what Sheldon is interested in. And so you're taking this time to consider the color and what you're pulling out and the light. Why is this important to you? And even beyond that, the framing, how you use the frames with each piece, why is that even important to you as well?
Well, I think the framing actually helps to bring the whole piece together. When I'm working on a painting, I have the privilege, I should say, of actually framing the work on my own rather than sending it off to a framer because I am a custom framer. I was having a conversation recently with one of my colleagues here on the island, and I said to her that I've been custom framing on my own now for the past 17 years. Yeah. And prior to that, it was 8 years. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing it for quite some time. So I know what color frame needs to go on a particular piece of mine or one of my clients. And because what I want to do is I want the frame to actually complement the piece. I don't want the frame to stand out from the painting or the matting to stand out from the work itself. Mm-hmm. And so all of that is important to me, not just the painting, but the framing, the matting, and everything involved in it with it.
Can you tell us more about one of the pieces in the exhibition?
Okay. A moment, the ones with the boys playing marbles?
Yes.
Okay. A moment remembered.
Yeah.
You don't have to sign these things upstairs. We were downstairs.
A moment remembered. This piece was actually done last year, but let me take you further back. This was maybe, say, 15, 20 years ago when I took the actual photograph. Yeah. I was in Nassau with my then art dealer. Mm-hmm. And she and I, we were driving around the island, and then we came across these guys playing marbles, and I go, oh my God, I have my camera, I have to take this picture. I can't just let the moment pass. But last year when I started working on this piece, it was actually an oil painting. Mm-hmm. And about 2-3 days into it, I look at it and I go, okay, I don't like this. So I tossed it aside. And that's when I started to work on this watercolor piece. Because what it actually does is it takes me back, and I'm sure that it takes a lot of folks back into those days when you would play marbles. And we had our crystallese and our guppies and our steelies. We got the steely marbles. Yes. We got them out of the spray cans. You open up the spray can, you open it up, and you get the steel marble out. And so that's one of the things that, I enjoy doing. I like to take folks back to the days that you don't see stuff like this anymore, anywhere. I don't even know if kids know anything about marbles today.
No, I mean, that's specific to your experience. Yeah. But also, that specificity is why I think that the work is so good, and why I think why I chose the name and tried to relate you to Jamaica Kincaid, because of specificity of experience, that I think that she wanted to communicate, you want to communicate with your audience that is different from the eye of somebody that comes and sees the tropical landscape and, renders it in a different way. Mm-hmm. I really like this painting. Yeah. I wasn't playing marbles. But I like, let me show you.
Miss Butler.
I love Miss Butler. We talked about Miss Butler. Yeah. Extensively.
Again, that was one of those times when I was in 8 Mile Rock here on the island. And, just traveling and having a look at, what I would probably be able to capture a moment. And there she was, standing on the rocks with her Cuban 8 in her hand. She's probably fishing for lunch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
and I think that's what a lot of people resonate with when they look at your work is these memories, you know? Um, and that's different from, you know, somebody else coming in, somebody that's not from here, a local,
Mhm.
seeing these works. One of the main characteristics of traditional genre paintings in the European sense is that it often highlights the mundanity of ordinary people in contrast with the prestige portrait paintings that were often considered upper class. And to that point, before I get there, what Jamaica Kincaid does in A Small Place is that she plays with memory. As she's taking the reader through Antigua and showing them, oh, and this is where the people didn't get their compound or something. I don't really remember the exact scenario. And this is where we did this. She's playing with this idea of a remembered Antigua that is different from what she's experienced now, like as an adult, right? And that is also different from what the tourists experience. So it's like these different matrices of experiences that are sort of like collapsing into one, which I think is so interesting about Sheldon's work, is that a lot of people, and art in general, but you can come to the scene, and I have memories of my grandmother fishing, you know, specifically, but somebody else, but that she doesn't fish anymore. So that is something I also find very interesting about a genre, painting in general. But anyway, so one of the main characteristics, like I said, of the traditional genre painting is that it often highlights the mundane activity of ordinary people in contrast to the prestige portrait paintings that were often contracted by the upper class. In the Caribbean context, this genre operates in a slightly different way. Here, your paintings are juxtaposed against the historical travel artists that are often used the local as a prop for native prestige imagery. Why is it important to highlight people that are working class as a people that are masters of the land, behaving in a way that is not subservient?
Well, here's something that I explained to one of my colleagues. As an artist, we cannot hide ourselves. We are always expressing our work, or showing our work to our viewers, but then we're also showing ourselves.
Yeah.
That there's always a part of us that if you look closely, you would see the artist in the work. And so when you see one of the paintings where, let's say here, he's this is what timeless ritual. My wife can tell you. I'm up at sometimes 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and my work begins. And if I'm not inside the house cleaning, like let's say this morning I was up cleaning. After I was cleaning, then I was giving myself a haircut, and after my haircut, then I was outside cleaning the car. When it's not that, then I'm outside mowing the lawn because I want the kids to go inside and practice their soccer game. Yeah. So I'm always working, and I'm always doing something. She would say, "You're always doing something. As soon as you finish this, and then you go to doing that, and then you go to doing something else." But when you look at the paintings, some of the paintings, this is what you would see, someone who's actually working, and you're actually looking at Sheldon Saint.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great answer. Yes. And so I really love that specificity, as I keep saying. For instance, the painting Crab and the Pen. I'm trying to find it. This one? Is that kind of painting?
No.
That's with the curve.
Crab and the Pen.
Oh, Jesus.
Right there. Yeah.
Reminding me about the crab pen in my
See, this was one of those times when I was on, it doesn't look like Queens Highway because I changed it. I was driving along the road on Queens Highway, and there she was on the side of the road with a crab in the pan. And I go, okay, now let me pull over to Bellevue. So I pull over to Bellevue, and with my camera, then I go, oh God, I have so many pictures of this this moment here with this lady working with the craft and the pen. But it takes us back to that island life. But it also brings us to a modern life where she doesn't have on flip-flops, she actually has on some sneakers with some socks on, and there's a plastic bucket there. It's not one of those metal wash pans or anything like that. And what I did, I didn't manipulate the lighting, but I changed the background and I gave it more of an island feel background with the clapboard house in the back.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I was having, this is kind of a funny thing, I was having a conversation with the president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Ian Rowe, who I gave a personal walkthrough, and I was explaining this piece to him, and he said, okay, so you use AI on it, right?
Oh, sorry, that's human AI. Why would you say that?
Human AI.
Oh, human AI.
Human AI.
AI before AI.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is it important to render scenes for you to render scenes that resonate so much with the audience sense of familiarity?
Well, again, this is something that I would want to bring to folks. You know, this is what they enjoy. I have folks who have come here on the island from many years ago. One of my friends who's passed a few years ago now, he would come here on the island, and he and we would drive from his home at Shoreline, and we would drive down to West End to Chicken Nest, and we would sit there on the wall, on the seawall, and we would be eating conch fritters and conch salad. We would be just enjoying our day. But this, that's something that he enjoys, not just the work that I was producing, which he purchased quite a number of them, but he enjoys, stuff like that.
Yeah, and try to capture this joy.
Yes.
This like perfect moment in your stuff. Talk to me about the relationship you have with other viewers then. Do you find that viewers who are not from the island engage with your work in a different way? Well,
there's a collector here on the island. I won't mention his name. He's not here this evening either. Some years ago, when the Grand Bahama Artists Association, we were hosting an event over here. It's called Memories now, but it wasn't Memories then. And we had some of our pieces out there on a table. And when he came in from the pool area, he looked at one of my paintings and he just glanced at it. And when he got up to the stairs, he stopped. And he came back down and he says to me, how much is it? Mm-hmm. And I gave him the price and he says, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. Last year, October, I posted a painting of a junk canoe guy, junk canoe costume, we call them cowbellers. Mm-hmm. And he contacted me and he says, Sheldon, how much is the painting? And when I told him the price, he said, I'll take it. When I went to his home to deliver the piece, when I walked in the door, the first painting that I'm going to see is the one that he purchased some 25 years ago, and it's still there on his wall. And he says to me, Sheldon, my wife and I really like your work. Yeah. They're not from Grand Bahama, they're not from the Bahamas, but they enjoy the Bahamian life, they enjoy collecting Bahamian artwork.
Yeah, and I think it's really special to bring that to people.
Yeah.
To bring that specificity to share. It's wonderful. Do you even think about audience when you start to paint?
They're honestly, it's not something that's always on my mind. I'm thinking, I love this moment. If you look at, I think it's not one of these pieces, but it's on my Facebook page, and it's old shoes. Uh-huh. Okay, old shoes. We were living in Cowbell Beach at the moment, mm-hmm. and this little boy with his friends, they were sitting down and they were cleaning some of the conch shells for market. And I looked out the window and I said to myself, oh my God. I ran outside and I said to him, don't move. Just stay right there, don't move. And I had to run over to the fence, put my camera lens through the fence and take the picture of him. And of course, some of his friends want to come over and, well, take a picture of me too. But that's what, one of those moments where I just looked out the window of our dining room window and I said, oh my God, look at this. I've got to take this picture.
Yeah, this is why we connect, Sheldon. Because I think it's so poetic. I mean, you learn this when you go to school for art. There's whole classes on just looking and seeing. But sometimes you're just born with the eye to capture and just appreciate beauty. And I think that's what when I saw the work, I said, oh, this guy has the eye to just see something just beautiful and just to bring that beauty out of an ordinary, mundane task. It's really, really special. It's really special. What do you want people to take away from your work?
Well, I was having a conversation yesterday with Shireen and my daughter here, my wife and my youngest daughter, and I was showing them some of the sketch pads that I had for some 30, 40 years. And I brought two of them. Two of the sketch pads. And you could pass them around. And they were looking through them, and their jaw was just dropping because they cannot believe how many times that if I drew a face, I would start over because I didn't like it. Then I would start it over again, and then I would start it over again, and I would keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it over and over and over again until I got it right.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I hope my kids would someday, understand.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, she had an art project, and she came to me and she said, Daddy, can you draw this for me? I said, no, I won't. I will not draw it for you. You go in the room and you draw it yourself. She said, but Daddy, this is too hard. I said, no, it's not hard. You've been drawing from you were 2, 3 years of age. Go inside the room and you work on what it is that you need to work on. Daddy's not going to do it for you. Then she comes back to me and about half an hour later and she shows it to me. I said, okay, so why did you tell me you can't draw it? You're talking to someone who knows exactly what it is that you can do. You have to persevere. You have to, keep trying, keep doing it until you actually achieve the goal that you have in mind.
Yeah. It's really good advice that I need to take. Do you have, speaking of, any advice for younger artists that want to start a practice, or any other advice?
Yeah, just keep at it. When I started out, one of the things that I did, this isn't something that someone told me that you can do. I would get on the public transportation from the Hawksville community where I live, and I would go downtown to the library, and I would be at the library all day studying.
Yeah.
All day, and so when you look in some of these sketch pads this is some of the things that I was studying all day, just sitting there, and I'd be writing down, I'd taking my notes, I'd be drawing. I was showing some of the work yesterday to Star, and she says, what's all that writing about? You were doing so much writing. Yeah, but this is what I was doing. Back then, I didn't have an iPad. I had a sketch pad and a pencil. Today, they have iPad and stylus. Yeah. They can just undo. My undo was an eraser. If I started something and I didn't like it, I'd just erase it, either do that or just tear the page out and start over. But there was about maybe 2-3 times when I really wanted to just quit, just say, you know what, forget this. Yeah. One time I was at home and I was doing a self-portrait. I was standing in the mirror doing a self-portrait of myself, just drawing away. And at one point in the process of that, I just said to myself, you know what, forget this. I'm not doing this anymore. I took my sketch pad off of the easel and I slammed it down on the ground and I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And then 10 minutes, the sketch pad was back on the easel and there I was drawing again. So you have to persevere. You have to keep going at it. And to host an event like this with the National Art Gallery of the Bahamas is not something that happens overnight.
No, but you weren't really concerned about that when you started, as in.
No, none of that. None of what you see or hear today or what you've seen over the years, none of that was on my mind. I was just driven to do this. This was like an addiction to me.
Yes.
I could get up at 3 a.m. or 3:30 in the morning, and there I would be drawing. As a matter of fact, one of my siblings, Sheldon Saint, she walked past my bedroom at 3:30 one morning, and around about 6:30, when everyone got up, she said, "Your bedroom light was on this morning. What were you doing?" I said, "Studying." I was drawing, painting, doing what everyone is enjoying today.
Yeah.
And one occasion, she just says to me, "How can you just sit there all day and draw and paint?" I said to her, "I don't know." I don't know. I was just always driven to do this.
Yeah. Okay, last question.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find your niche and what keeps you inspired?
What keeps me inspired? That's something that.
Well, let's start with how do you find your niche first?
Well,
like, why did you decide to paint landscapes and people?
People. Let's start with people.
Mm-hmm.
Why I choose people is portraiture was the most difficult and challenging thing for me to do. So that's why I choose portraiture. This is why I choose to draw people, because it was so challenging. It's a challenge to actually draw your eyes, your nose, and your mouth. And then there are times, y'all don't think that I'm weird. I can be having a conversation with someone and I'm observing your lips, your ears, your glasses, your eyes, everything. It's like my mind is just constantly going. There have been times when I was on the public bus, taking the public bus transportation, I'll be sitting next to someone and I'll be looking at them and, okay, I see how your nose is shaking, like I'm doing you right now. And it's something that just, it's constantly going on in my mind. And, like I said, it was the most challenging and difficult thing for me to do. And I said, I'm going to do this. I don't care how hard it is for me to do. I'm going to do this. Yeah.
What keeps you inspired?
Inspired. When I'm driving around the island, I'm just on the road. There are times when I can see a poinciana tree. I can see the way that the sunlight hits the tree. I can look at the way the sunlight hits the ground, the grass, whatever. And that's one of the things that just keeps me going. It's all around me.
The beauty.
The beauty is all around me. About maybe 3 weeks ago, we were at the beach one morning. And when we were at the beach, New Day, the painting New Day, we were at the beach.
Oh, sorry.
Go. There. We were there. And this is one of those places where I go when they are asleep.
Yeah.
And I go out there in the mornings to watch the sunrise.
Yeah.
And when I was, about to head on home and I looked at the sky and the clouds and the water and everything and I go, oh my God, okay, I need to capture this moment.
Yeah.
And then we were there, like I said, about 3 weeks ago, and I looked out at the water and the sky and the clouds, the whole environment out there, and I was like, oh, jeez, this never gets old. It never gets old. This is out there by Banana Bay. Banana Bay, yeah. It never gets old. Anytime you go out there, you can enjoy just being out there. You need to go.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been.
We could take you one of these
Okay,
days.
yeah.
Yeah. But that's, one of the things that really, really keeps me inspired. When I go out there and I look around me, that I have so many pictures of that area. Or, believe it or not, I also go out there to fly my drones.
Well, I think that's a good way, before I open up to the audience, a good way to end, that beauty keeps you inspired. And I really want to drive home that it was really wonderful working with you. And
Same here.
yeah, and I really hope that more people are inspired to pull the beauty out of everyday, mundane experiences. Any questions from the audience? We have about 14 minutes. Any questions?
I have a question. I wanted to know, would you ever put the photos on display, like the source photos?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh, yeah, I think I sent you a
Yeah.
source photo along with one of the pieces that I did of my nephew. Yeah, that's something that I can do for the audience, just to put the reference that I did work from and some of the changes that I would have made to make the painting more appealing to the audience. Yeah.
You have a question? Yes.
Hi. So I have a question about the Peace Crown pen. You mentioned that it was important for you to keep the modern aspect of around sinkers and of course the plastic bucket, but you intentionally changed the backdrop to something that was more clapboard. And I wanted to know, what was it about that change that was important to you?
Well, the clapboard behind her, I felt that would be more of an island feel. What was actually behind it was a concrete building. It could have been a concrete building with cars and a modern day window and all of that. And I wanted to just eliminate that part of it and just bring it back to a more of an island feel. The only thing that's kind of modern is the fact that she's wearing sneakers and some Nike sneakers with some white socks on.
I used to do that.
Yeah.
I used to wear sneakers.
Yeah.
So is it safe to, I guess this is a leading question. So is it safe to say that you're playing with the surreality?
Yeah.
In terms of
Yes.
the ideas of what
He
life
is.
is?
Yes, he's inventing. He's inventing to a certain point.
Like if we can go to Sunlit Toil. Sunlit Toil, yeah, keep going back, right there. Sunlit Toil. Sunlit Toil is a gardener that used to come at our apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to come down at our apartment and clean up the grounds.
Yeah.
where we lived in Carmel Beach. And I stick my camera lens up to the screen inside our bedroom.
Oh boy.
Inside our bedroom, and
This is illegal.
he was doing his work, and I stick my camera up to the screen, and I took a picture of him. So all of this that you see in the background was not at the apartment. That was from a totally different building that I kind of created, along with the other painting that's right next to him. That one. That is the same person. That's the same guy on a different day. I changed the color of his, I think this was the colors of the clothing that he was wearing. But he was cutting down one of those Brazilian pepper trees that is kind of invasive to the Bahamas. And he was cutting it down in the back of the apartment. And again, I guess you would call me a voyeur.
Yes. Yeah. So, in general, painting, art history, windows.
Yeah.
He would, Sheldon is a voyeur, somebody who would go and he would go and look and watch people, choose, and invites the audience to be a voyeur as well, right, through how he makes the composition. The reason I, like, for example, this one, by the water's edge, like, we are looking through these, like, we're not a part of this conversation or a part of the action anyway. And so we're like looking through on the scene. And so Sheldon is doing that throughout the exhibition, that we are watching these people enjoy life and, which happens in genre painting. Yeah. And so but he's actually a voyeur. Like, he would go out and just go and take photos and, which is something I do.
One of those moments when the whole family, we were out just riding about, and we came across these two guys, and we were just having a conversation with them, and I just stepped back because I know, okay, I'm not going to see this moment again.
Yeah.
And I would want to capture it.
Yeah. It's something that, artists do,
Yeah.
just go and people watch. It's very fun, I think.
Mine is not a question, it's a comment.
Okay.
I've known Sheldon for quite a while. We've exhibited together for at least 25 years.
Yeah.
And what I would like to say is that it's actually, when you look at Sheldon, it's a good example for young artists when I'm trying to tell them, do not try to be somebody else.
Yes.
Be who you are.
Yeah.
Connect with you inside. And let that out. Don't try just because this one is successful, you're not going to be successful by just copying them.
Yes.
So just be yourself and keep working at it. So well done, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes, I agree with that. It's very honest work.
Yes.
Sheldon, do you ever paint on scene rather than on a photograph?
There are times when I went to the location, when I did on plein air, and I actually just paint on location, but I think I prefer to be in the studio working on a photo that I took of the actual scene.
I understand.
It was a painting that I did of just my wife, Star and Treasure, but I took the actual photo of them at the beach.
I remember that from the studio visit,
Yeah.
You created me posing and treasure posing.
Oh, yeah.
And any other questions? All right. I think that's it. Thank you so much, Sheldon. This is really wonderful. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you guys so much for coming and supporting Sheldon. This is really great. And thank you to the stream people. All right.
Thank you.